All right, what is up? I'm excited to be talking some THC potency and the evolution of the plant with Dr. Dank. He is an upstate cannabis grower in the illicit market, the unlicensed market, what have you. Dr. Dank, really excited to be linking up with you, man. We've had some good phone conversations in the lead up to this, and I know it's a topic a lot of folks want to talk about, So diving right on in here, how has THC potency evolved? A lot of people are talking now about how we're seeing crazy numbers, and it wasn't like that back in the day. Can you kind of, demystify it for the folks who might not know what's going on?
Absolutely. And the one thing I do want to know out is that I can't stand that we even have a focus on THC at this point in absolutely, we're still debating like that. But, when you go back, like when I first got into the game and was starting to hustle, like we had a very, direct way where we do things. Like me and these three other dudes, we get a quarter pound on the front every single day. We had the oldest guy had an apartment. We'd sell up, so we re-up. When we got the re-up, we would smoke all of the fucking weed we had left for a long time, like a good year. And like back then, like this was like brick weed, where it wasn't getting tested, but there absolutely was lower amounts of THC in the plant, and because the focus wasn't so much on THC and like what you think good weed is and like how high you're getting, it was just about community and like being with each other, that it had this whole different experience. And the more it goes legal, the more we lose that in like the in touch with the plant, But I would say that where we are now with THC potency, it's absolutely, we hit ridiculous numbers. It's definitely not the same part.
Yeah, like people are saying it used to be like single digits, low double digits. Now, you're seeing more like 20s, 30s, are we seeing 40s at this point even? Like it's getting crazy numbers. It feels like it goes up every time I talk to someone.
It depends how much you pay the lab. You know what I
mean? Right. And that's another topic we can talk about too with the lab testing and what's going on in different states for sure. Actually one thing we didn't have on here, but I think you just brought up is really important too, is, why do you think it's, not so important to focus in on THC, or why is it, a misdirection by prioritizing that instead of, other elements of the plant and, like you said, even the communal experience?
Right. No, I think the communal experience is a big part of it. But it's just like now we're at a point in cannabis evolution, like where, we're finding out that it's not all about THC. You know what I mean? That it isn't like that isn't the deciding in the tell-all of what makes quality or what you would want to be ingesting. And then it's more like, I hate using the fucking Chad ass term like entourage, like an entourage effect or something. But it's like, the combination of different compounds and different that actually, provide you. And like I like to use Sour D as an example. Like Sour Diesel is a typically lower THC percentage strain. I just smoked some yesterday. That shit had me so much more fucking high than any distillate or pure THC product I've ever had.
Yeah, it really comes down to, the quality of the grower, the quality of the genetics, and there's so much more to it than just, one, metric. And what has accelerated, this desire for THC? Is it just, is it, the simplest way to deliver the effect or the quality of it, or like what is, steering this focus on it?
It's fucking Chads, man. We didn't have this conversation about, what, like, do you remember when terpenes first were talked about? Like, I remember, like, I was selling weed before people even knew cannabis and terpenes were a thing,
Yeah. I grew up in like bum little college town store stuff, so we didn't really know what quality was. But yeah, when I started working in the industry, it was when terp started coming up, and that was 7-8 years ago. When did you first start hearing about it?
Back it was like some of the real elite growers, like the OGs, they were kind of above it with information that was coming in. So like they were kind of talking about the stuff more like that. But it really, like, things didn't start to change until it was legalized, and now there's a motive to influence the market. You know what I mean? And now there's a motive that we can push for THC, and it's going to drive the price of a product. Everything is fucking changing. You know what I mean? I purely believe, like I said, like this wasn't a problem before things got legal and, big money was involved. And now, we need things catered to certain people, and they're using, false information to get people to buy their product over somebody else. It's insane. There's no product that I've ever smoked on the market that is comparable with, a fresh, locally grown plant. And it never will be, because of, the way that the compounds break down in the plant, the fresher you get it, so but the industry doesn't want you to focus on that. They want you to focus on the things they can manipulate.
Yeah, and I'm not going to name any brands to shit on them on the legal market, but I saw some stuff recently from events that I got, and it's not bad, but it's just this dry, flavorless, experience. Whereas, like you said, I got linked up thanks to Ben All Caps, hooked me up with all those great dudes, including you, and some of the strains I got, there's one I always go back. There's one from OD. It was just the strawberry jelly. It tasted legitimately like it was strawberry jelly coming out of it. It was just you see this difference to it, and I don't even know what the potency or whatever the hell you want to call it on it, but like it tasted really good and it was a damn good experience every time.
No, and that's why I try to encourage everybody is like, dude, fuck what's on the label and what people are trying to market you. Like you need, and it's not for nothing, but like going back to the communal side of it is like, this is a very much like a spiritual relationship between you and the plant, and like you're the only one that can judge what you like and how it's going to affect you in a positive way. So just interacting with the plant through, your senses and like what you like to see and what you like to smell is like, that's how you should be gauging your cannabis. You know what I mean? And I'm excited to see some more research that's going to be out. I'm sure once federal legalization happens, there'll be a lot more, but there's definitely like, a bunch of different compounds that'll be interesting to see if they're at like cancer fighting properties and shit like that.
Yeah, we're only just on the beginning of it. So let's not butcher it by fucking it up and just focusing on THC potency. So, obviously, man, you don't like the trend of seeing where things are going with the THC potency and stuff. But, looking at it from the rest of the side of the market, how do you feel about the shape of the market? Obviously, there's some gripes from the unlicensed market, and rightfully so. I've talked to some folks in New York. What are kind of you hearing from, the folks in your market in regards to the shape of how New York's coming along?
Man, that's a loaded, question.
Sorry, we did do a little prep, and that kind of just came off the dome here. If we want to skip that, we can.
It's tough, I think that, like, and I've surprisingly been in contact with a lot of like OCM people and the people that have been doing this stuff, and I've only been in contact because I've been fucking saying it's bullshit from the beginning. And kind of built a relationship out of that. But I think there's a lot of good intentions, and it's like good intentions don't fix wrong actions. You know what I mean? And like mistakes that happen, they happen regardless of who you are and what your intentions are. And when they happen, you got to own it and you got to wear it. You know what I mean? And just go out and change it and learn from it. And that's where I'm struggling with the drug rollout is I don't see a lot of that. Like, yeah, that was our bad. Like we messed up these regulations, but it's still too early on to really be able to tell. The micro licenses are looking dope. I think they're doing a lot of good things, and then they're doing a lot of really stupid things that I can't believe.
Yeah, and I correct me if I'm wrong. Does New York are they doing anything proposing with THC caps or anything like that? Have we seen anything?
They're doing the THC. They have a THC tax.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah. So sorry, we're getting a little audio cut here. Yeah. So I guess kind of want to follow up on THC stuff. What are your thoughts on states that are doing THC caps or THC taxes? How do you feel about that? And is that an accurate representation? I'm going to assume you don't support those, right?
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. And this is just what happens when you have a part of an industry or a part of the country that prosecuted and went against this plant for so long. They're so out of touch with it, and they're not including the right people, so they just have no understanding of really what's going on, and it's very telling when you see these states roll out and just fuck everything up.
Yeah, man. And then meanwhile, we got casual consumers that are just trying to learn about this stuff, being misdirected about it, being oversold some stuff, being sold some stuff that's usually not of great quality. And, that's kind of leading me to the last question that we wanted to talk about here, is talk about those casual consumers and, those lighter consumers. A lot of folks that are saying they're looking for something, like a light THC or a light weed that's not going to fuck them up so bad. Can you talk about, do you think there's a place for that in the market? And, is there stuff already being made like that? And, what do you recommend for folks that are kind of looking in that sort of direction?
Absolutely. And I would love to see on like these bottles, I would love to see everything else listed before THC and that not be the main focus of it at all. But in the future of cannabis, after New York gets done coining craft fucking marketed cannabis, absolutely. Like this, I don't even see the reason why you want to put THC on there. You know what I mean? It's almost like a distraction for the consumer, and it just allures them away from, them making commitment with this plant and choosing what they like,
Yeah.
But legal market goes, if they can't influence the market, they don't really want to, market.
Right, exactly. And I've heard a lot of people say if you're buying just strictly on THC percent, it's like buying alcohol strictly on ABV percent. Your Everclear is not always your best option for you, and it might just fuck you up a little bit too much.
Right. No, yeah, absolutely.
And yo,
100%.
man, want to bring it home. Obviously, this video you speak more often to high level folks, but I want to make sure this video also connects to some of the folks that are just starting to learn about the plant and things like that. So instead of THC percentage, what should they be looking out for? Like you said, a lot of people tell them the entourage effect and all this sort of stuff. What would you recommend from your expertise? What should people be looking for? Physical characteristics, plant characters, what have you?
And it's so funny because like prior to this, I had looked up and to see like what content was out there for like information on different cannabinoids. Because me, like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not, I don't know a lot of the terms and like different cannabinoids that they have. But so I strictly like my information is gauged entirely off of smoking the plant throughout the past 20 years. But I think that people should really we need to get away from this numbers thing, and we need to have people judging the plant for what they want in themselves, and that's hard. It's hard to see how that's really going to roll out, and it's going to be with isolated compounds, but I really don't like the idea of separating different parts of the plant and isolating them and treating them separately. I think the plant's meant to be taken in as a whole. So I don't know if you should be judging it off of any particular, cannabinoid.
Yeah, and I think that makes a good point. So for you then, what makes a good smoke? What would you say is an enjoyable smoke? Is it the flavor, aroma? Like I've heard, the white smoke, all that sort of stuff. What kind of are your parameters?
Yeah, as long as it's usually good. But no, for me, just like I said, nose is the first thing. If I smell that, it's like your cannabinoid. It's almost like your system relates to this plant in such a way and is connected in such a way that when you smell it, you'll either have something like GMO, for example. I've grown it so many times, and that people smell it and they ugh, and then other people are like, oh my god, I love this. So by putting, that's why it's really difficult to advertise in a way of cannabinoids and not that personal relationship that you're gonna have with it. So for me, I like certain profiles, I guess you would say, or like OGs, sours. So I'm looking at if I'm smelling it and it smells good and it tastes like it smells in whatever I'm smoking, that's what I go off every time. Fuck the white ash. I don't give a shit about that. That's all deciding factors that tell you things about how it was grown, but it shouldn't be, a tell-all,
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I appreciate talking to guys like you. This is, the indicators coming from the folks that are, actually handling the plant and bringing it up, man. So, I appreciate you sharing your expertise. We obviously could be talking tons more, and I would love to in the future. But just to keep it concise, because we know the metrics say the audience like the short stuff, we're going to keep it on this here. Dank, want to bring it home, man. How can people be in touch with you? How do you want people to link up or watch out what you're doing?
Yeah, definitely shout out the Instagram channel, which is Dr. Dank. Also, Legacy Growers is the other page that we had, that's we're really just trying to do informational stuff and kind of stay on New York's ass with some of the things that we aren't favorable to the little guy. But yeah, either of those things on Instagram is definitely the best way.
Definitely. And just wanted to shout you out too. I was watching your stories talking about the next iteration of the New York Growers Cup, man. Really excited about it. Doing some great fucking work, man. Support the unlicensed market in New York. We got some great stuff going on and some great folks like Dank, man. Appreciate you dropping some knowledge on this for us, and definitely want to link up with you more soon.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Anytime.